Whenever anyone thinks about San Diego, they probably think about how close it is to the beaches, desert, and how close it is to the mountains to hike. But just like every major city, there's paranormal hotspots that you should probably check out if you're into that sort of thing. Hi, so we're going to be doing something a little bit different today. We're going to be talking about a paranormal experience we had. So the first place we're going to talk about is the El Campo Santo Cemetery. It is one of the oldest burial grounds in San Diego. It's located in the Old Town portion of the city, and it holds a lot of the first settlers to come west and our famous boat thief that was hanged right next to the Whaley House. But we'll get to that. So when the city started building around the graveyard, they didn't realize it at the time, but they put a walkway right on top of some of the older graves that for one reason or another didn't have the markings on. That's why if you take a look at this plaque here, it shows the exact location of the graves that they found using ground penetration radar, and they've marked them on the sidewalk using these metal markers. There are a few interesting graves here. Like I said, a lot of these belong to the people who first settled here, who weren't native to the area, from the Spanish to the Mexican to the American eras. Not only did we capture something on this, and this was a while back when we did it too. It was around 2015, and I've just kind of sat on this audio file because I didn't know what to do with it. I think I've only let my sister hear it. Yours too. Yeah, they didn't quite like what they heard. So we're going to take a look at them and I'm going to explain exactly what happened. So the first audio file that I captured was next to this old soldier's grave. You can definitely hear me talking. What I was doing was I was holding it down at my hip level and told you that I was going to go ahead and put it in my pocket because this thing, when it starts recording, it blinks this really bright orange light. So I looked like a little beacon going off in the middle of a graveyard. And, I was a little self-conscious about that. So I tucked it into my jacket. The way that these jackets are, they're pretty long. So it's not like with this next audio file, it sounds like someone's clearing their chest, but it's definitely not me because you can hear the difference in tone and the difference in the quality of the audio. And I've even tried to mimic the sound too. You'll get to hear it. It's good stuff. Yeah, and I was walking around too, so it's definitely strange. Now, this next audio file we captured around the grave of Anita Gillis. Obviously, there's no way to say whether or not it is a voice or it's her or anything, but it is very strange because you can hear it say, "What are you doing here?" And then you can hear her start talking immediately after. It's very strange because you can hear the difference in the tone
and the distance.
and distance,
It
the
was
volume.
farther away from the recorder itself. Because if I remember right, I was behind you a few feet away.
Yeah. And I was kind of trailing. Um, no, you were trailing behind me. I was kind of leading the way because there was this other couple that was. It's not exactly wide open, but it's not packed in tight either. But if two groups are going, the same way, there's only so many spaces that you can really step on because a lot of these places are enclosed. No matter how old the graves are, you just want to practice some decency. So let's go ahead and take a listen to this one. Louder. Now, the second part has to do with the Whaley House. Now, the Whaley House is probably the most famous haunted house on the West Coast. It's known as one of the most active haunted houses. There are definitely quite a few people that have experiences there, and we've actually had a couple. I'll let her go ahead and tell the story.
We took the last tour. Pretty sure about that. Yes, it was the last tour because we were curious about it. We were taking the tour. It kind of looked misty, but I don't know. I had glasses, so who knows, maybe my glasses were misty or something. It was in the courtroom where it was kind of misty. So he was in the theater room, which you go up the stairs and it's to the left of you.
It is to the left.
It is to the left. But I chose to look at the room, the bedroom on the right. And that's when I saw this bright orb that was just lazily floating. The top of the room, just lazily floating. And I tried to take a video of it, but I was pretty shocked at what I was looking at. I couldn't process it correctly. Or I couldn't process what I was seeing. So I turned around and I walked into the theater room and I looked at him and the guide and just said, like, I think I saw something, but I don't know what I was seeing.
Yeah, you look like you didn't even know how to verbalize exactly what you saw. Like you didn't know how to say it without sounding crazy or something.
Well, I pretty much shrugged it off at that point and we just proceeded with the tour.
Yep.
And I think that's the only thing that happened in that tour, right?
That is.
Yeah. So we went back again. Was it the next day or the next week?
It was the next week.
It was around the next week with one of our friends. And we also did it. We also went on the last tour again. Well, nothing really happened during the whole tour until we started going down the stairs.
Yeah, she was about done for the night too.
Our guide was ushering us out, and that's when the back door rattled. Someone kicked it, but we didn't hear anybody, nor did we hear anybody leave, run, walk off.
She opened the door immediately too.
Yeah, she opened the door immediately. And we were listening. We were all listening. She looked out. She didn't see anybody.
Yeah, and at the time, they didn't even have those big bushes there. They were clearing the way, so there's no way that anyone can really hide back there, with the exception of the little building that served as like the little maintenance area. There was nothing else, and she looked out. She went around, took a look, nothing. She just kind of shrugged it off, said, that's weird, locked the door, and said, all right, the tour is done, guys. You guys need to get out.
Yeah, they're saying they're tired.
Yeah. So we just said, okay. I guess that's it for the night. Unfortunately, I did not have a recorder on that night because, like I said, it has this really bright light. Let me see if I could go ahead and show that to you guys.
And it's a two-party consent state, so it's not like we can ask everybody.
Yeah.
If we could record.
Yeah. Well, this is actually brighter than it looks. There you go. It actually gets brighter than it looks, especially if you have it and you're trying to be all low key about it and you're putting it in the top pocket. It really is difficult to hide and kind of puts you on the spot because now everyone's looking at this light. Those were the experiences we had at Old Town. I hope that you can come and check it out for yourself, especially if you're within driving distance. I mean, it's a very nice place.
But don't be disrespectful.
Yes, please. There's lots of people that try to chip away at like bricks and some of the adobe blocks for some reason.
Or walk on the graves.
Or walk all over the graves. I mean, you can take a look at some of these pictures that I took. They've got shoe prints over them. I mean, I know that, for a lot of people, there's this time limit that's built in where after a certain point it becomes a historical curiosity rather than a cemetery, but let's just keep it nice. It's still a cemetery. Don't do anything in there that you wouldn't do to a cemetery where maybe one of your loved ones is at rest. So just keep it nice, keep it respectful, and well, if you're there to see if you can get anything, I hope you do, and that you have a good time, and maybe you can let us know if you actually have found something. So that's it for tonight. It's pretty late. We've got a special trip happening tomorrow, and we're probably not going to be doing another game video, but we're definitely going to be taking a lot of pictures, and we'll probably make another video about that trip in particular. So until then, till the next day, we'll see you guys later. Hope you keep coming back and you hang out with us.